After 20 years of dominance, Red Bull just made a shocking decision that could change Formula One forever. Christian Horner is out. The man who led Red Bull to multiple championships has been sacked with immediate effect. But here's the twist. This might be exactly what Red Bull needed. Horner's final months were a disaster. Off-track scandals distracted the team, while on-track performance plummeted. Their wind tunnel data stopped matching reality, McLaren surged past them, and even legendary designer Adrian Newey jumped ship. The team lost focus, and it showed. Enter Laurent Mekies. Fresh leadership means fresh ideas. No more scandal-driven distractions, no more stale 20-year-old management style. This is Red Bull's chance to solve their technical meltdown and refocus on what matters, winning races. But here's the brutal truth. This might already be too late. The damage is done. Now, all those suggestions people had for Horner, they're advice for the new guy trying to fix a broken machine. This is just the beginning of the drama. We'll break down the complete chaos in our next video. Christian Horner is facing the biggest crisis of his Red Bull career. And it's not about Max Verstappen. It's not even about their car losing pace to McLaren. It's about a decision that's haunting him every single race weekend. Because while Max has been fighting alone, carrying the entire weight of Red Bull's championship hopes on his shoulders, there's a 36-year-old German driver who just proved that Red Bull threw away their dynasty 3 years ago. What happened at Silverstone wasn't just Nico Hulkenberg's first podium after 239 starts. It was the moment Red Bull realized they might have destroyed their own future. And when I tell you what Christian should be doing right now, instead of watching Yuki Tsunoda finish dead last again, you'll understand why this might be Red Bull's last chance to save their empire. Let me paint you the picture of Christian Horner's nightmare. Since Sergio Perez left, Red Bull has been through a revolving door of drivers trying to fill that second seat. First, Perez himself struggled to adapt when the car started its downfall. Then, Liam Lawson got his shot and couldn't handle the pressure. Now, Yuki Tsunoda is finishing dead last with 10-second penalties, getting lapped by the very driver Red Bull should have signed years ago. At Silverstone, Yuki finished last, not just out of the points, dead last, with a penalty, while Nico Hulkenberg, starting from P19, carved through the field to finish on the podium. Let me repeat that. A Sauber driver was one corner away from lapping a Red Bull driver. This isn't just poor performance. This is complete humiliation. But here's what's really killing Red Bull's championship hopes. Max Verstappen has been fighting McLaren's two-car army completely alone. Look at how Oscar Piastri helped Lando Norris throughout 2024. When Norris needed a tow in qualifying, Oscar was there. When Norris needed strategic support during races, Oscar delivered. When Norris was fighting Max for wins, he had a wingman who could actually keep up. Max has had none of that support for 3 years. Not from Perez when the car got difficult, not from Lawson during his brief stint, and definitely not from Tsunoda, who can't even make it out of Q1 consistently. While McLaren runs a perfect two-car operation, Max is out there fighting two drivers by himself, race after race. Now, you might think this is just about Red Bull needing to fix their car development, that maybe if they solve their technical issues, any driver can perform in that second seat. But here's what Christian Horner doesn't want you to know. The problem isn't just the car, it's about understanding what makes a championship-winning teammate. You might think finding a good second driver is easy, but here's the shocking reality. Nico Hulkenberg has been the answer sitting right there, and Red Bull has ignored him for 3 years. While they've been cycling through drivers who crumble under pressure, Hulkenberg has been quietly proving his worth in inferior machinery. Since Spain, Hulkenberg has outscored Max Verstappen, 31 points to 29. Think about that. A driver in arguably the slowest car on the grid is outscoring the 4-time world champion. And this isn't a fluke. In the last 4 races, Hulkenberg has actually outscored Max, partly due to Max's DNF caused by Kimi Antonelli's incident. But that's exactly the point. When you don't have reliable support, every mechanical failure or racing incident becomes catastrophic. But here's the insider information that changes everything. Nico Hulkenberg never got the car he deserved. For 15 years, he's been stuck in midfield machinery that has completely shadowed his true talent. He started at Williams, moved to Force India, then to Sauber, back to Force India, then Renault, then Aston Martin, and now back to Sauber. Every single team was fighting for scraps in the midfield. Think about his journey. 239 race starts without a podium. Not because he lacked talent, but because he never had the machinery to showcase it. He's been driving overperforming cars his entire career, extracting every tenth of a second from machines that had no business being competitive. And now, at 36, he's finally proven what many of us suspected all along. Give him the right strategy and conditions, and he can beat anyone. Sources tell me that Hulkenberg and Verstappen have a bond that goes back over 20 years to their karting days in the Netherlands. Max was the first driver to congratulate Hulkenberg on his maiden podium, both on track and in the pit lane. They have mutual respect, shared history, and most importantly, they trust each other. Carlos Sainz, who partnered with Hulkenberg, just revealed the truth. People kept cursing him. The fact that he didn't have any podiums was completely irrelevant for me. I was his teammate, and the fact he didn't have a podium was just circumstantial. I never doubted him, and I knew he was one day going to be on the podium. Here's what a potential partnership between Max and Nico would look like, and why Christian Horner is out. Red Bull just made a shocking decision that could change Formula One forever. Enter Laurent Mekies should be starting formal negotiations tomorrow morning instead of sitting back and analyzing more data. First, the bond is already there. These aren't strangers who need to build chemistry. They've known each other for decades. Hulkenberg speaks fluent Dutch, which helps their rapport. They've helped each other on track before, providing slipstreams during qualifying based on mutual agreement, not team orders. Second, the confidence factor. Hulkenberg has finally tasted podium success. He's broken the psychological barrier that might have held him back. At 36, he's not looking to prove himself anymore. He's looking to win championships. That's exactly what Max needs. A teammate who's secure in his abilities and focused on the team's success. Third, the machinery advantage. Even a struggling Red Bull is still better than Sauber. If Hulkenberg can outscore Max in a Sauber, imagine what he could do in a car that's actually designed to win races. He wouldn't just be a support driver, he'd be a genuine threat to McLaren's two-car advantage. The worst-case scenario for Red Bull? They continue with drivers who can't handle the pressure while Hulkenberg moves to Audi in 2026 and becomes their biggest threat. The best case? They swallow their pride, admit their mistake, and give Max the teammate he's needed for 3 years. But this raises questions nobody is asking. What if Christian Horner's stubbornness about young driver development is what's actually destroying Red Bull's championship chances? What if their obsession with promoting from within has blinded them to the obvious solution? And here's the most concerning possibility. With nothing getting worse than Yuki's last position finish, why isn't Horner already on the phone with Hulkenberg's management? Every race weekend that passes is another opportunity lost, another chance for McLaren to extend their advantage while Max fights alone. The real question isn't whether Hulkenberg deserves to be with Max, it's whether Red Bull deserves to have Hulkenberg save their championship hopes. Because right now, while they're wasting time with drivers who can't deliver, their former target is proving that sometimes the best solution isn't the youngest or the flashiest. It's the most reliable. With Audi looming in 2026 and Hulkenberg potentially leading their charge, Red Bull might be facing a future where the driver they ignored becomes their biggest threat. The irony would be perfect. The man who could have saved their dynasty instead destroys it. Will Christian Horner wake up and realize that formal negotiations should start tomorrow? Or will we look back at Silverstone 2024 as the moment Red Bull's window closed forever because they were too proud to admit they were wrong? Let me know in the comments. Should Red Bull be begging Hulkenberg to join them right now? And what do you think happens when he's leading Audi's charge in 2026? Because something tells me Christian Horner's biggest regret is still to come. What do you think? Game changer or disaster? Drop your thoughts below.